Hi everyone, welcome to my Facebook Live again. How are you all doing this week? I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday season last week and that you're all ready for the end of the year. I mean, I can't believe it. We are at the end of November and the start of December. Where did the year go? So first of all, I want to start by saying I really appreciate every single one of you for tuning in to my Facebook Live and for listening in. And I appreciate all of you who've written to me and those of you who've tuned into my radio show and those of you who have written me letters through my website and who've purchased my book and the new meditation CD. Thank you, every single one of you. I want you to know that whenever you write questions to me, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's through the website, I may not respond to them directly, but I do take your questions to heart. And I do actually think about them and how to respond to them whenever I do my radio shows and whenever I do my Facebook Live. And something that has come up quite a bit, which I want to address today, is that a lot of people talk to me about their fear of cancer. Now, even more specifically, people who have had cancer, people whose doctors have told them that they're cancer-free and they're now in remission. A lot of these people, those who haven't had cancer, you tend to think that people who have had cancer, they've conquered something and they feel fantastic, like they're invincible. But here's what many people don't realize, that a lot of people who have had cancer and who've been told they're in remission, they also are aware of things like statistics, that if you've had it and you're in remission, you're not clear for 5 years, and all these kinds of things that we fill our heads with, which are actually not necessarily true, by the way. And so these people actually walk around with the fear that their cancer could come back. And I know those of you who are listening, you know who you are. Every time you feel a slight ache or a pain somewhere, you kind of think, oh my God, has the cancer come back? And every little thing has you running to the doctors for more tests or more checkups because you want to make sure it hasn't come back. And then what you do, and you know who I'm talking to, I mean, you know who you are. The other thing you do is you live from the perspective of avoiding the cancer. You live from the perspective of, oh my God, it could come back at any time. It was horrible. What I went through was horrible. I never want to go through it again. So I'm going to do everything I can to avoid it coming back. And so we make our choices from the place of fear of it not coming back. Here's what I want to tell you. What I want to tell you is that I want you to turn that word remission into remember my mission. That cancer that you had the first time was your body's way of telling you that you were not following your calling. You were not following your mission. Your only work is to focus on who you are and what you came here to do. Your work is not to focus on the cancer. The cancer was a wake-up call. It was a calling. It was a way your body was communicating to you. And once you get the message, that's it. Say, I'm done with cancer. It's time for me to move on. And it's time for me to remember my mission. Okay, so what is the message you're supposed to get? The message is very simple. It's very simple. The message is, it's time for me to love myself and be who I am. It's time for me to remember the real me. It's time for me to remember the true me. What I find a lot of people struggling with who are dealing with an illness is they're beating themselves up and they're saying, why can't I get rid of this illness? What is it I'm not getting? Why am I not getting the lesson? Anybody out there listening who relates to that? Like, what is the lesson I'm not getting? So first of all, I want to say, stop beating yourself up. So those of you who are still in the throes of an illness and you're constantly feeling, what is it that I'm missing? I've read all the books, I've done all the work, why am I not getting the message? The thing is, you'll only get the message after you get the message. I don't know if that makes any sense. Right now, your purpose is not about trying to figure out the message. So forget about the message. Just forget about the message and start loving yourself. Start by not judging yourself and beating yourself up for not getting the message. That is not, the purpose of the illness is not about trying to figure out what the message is behind the illness. That's not your job. That'll be an aha moment that'll hit you after. Allow that to come. Your only job is to love yourself through whatever you're going through. That's it. Nothing more than that. It's just to love yourself through it. So whatever you're going through, it's about, how can I love myself more? How can I nurture myself more? Who am I? Who am I? And once you get to know who you are, you'll start to get clarity on what your purpose is. But let the purpose come. You don't have to chase it. It'll come when you start knowing who you are, when you start loving who you are, when you start honoring who you are and being who you are. That's when it'll start to come. Your job is not to try and figure out the message. And your job is not to avoid cancer. Your job is just to allow you to be who you are. And so far, I want to say thank you for everybody who's been listening in so far. And here's my loves right back at you. Thank you for all the hearts, the smileys, everything that you're sending me. And here's mine right back at you, all of you. And I want to say to you, anybody listening in, if you know somebody who will get something from what I've just said, because I've come across so many people who are fearful of cancer, who are going through illnesses, who are in remission and are so fearful it's going to come back. If you know anybody like that, please forward this video to them. Please share it with them. Share it on their Facebook. Share it on your friends' timelines. Because I really want you to know this. I want you to know that your body is smarter than you give it credit for. Your body is more resilient than you think. Your body doesn't need intervention for everything. You don't need to go rushing to the doctor for every little thing. Every time you do that, you're actually sending your body the message that my body is weak, it's not capable of righting itself or fixing itself, so I have to get someone else to do it. You're disempowering yourself when you do that. And actually, your body is so smart that it tries to communicate with you. But here's the easy part. We all beat ourselves up trying to figure out, what is my body saying? Why am I not getting it? It all boils down to one thing. Love myself more. Honor myself more. Be more authentic. Get to know who I am. Once you do those things, either the messages will become clearer, or you'll find out that was the message. The message was to take better care of yourself, to love yourself more and be more authentic. That's all. It's that simple. That's how simple it is. You know, one day we'll look back many years from now, and we will look back at the way that we treat cancer, the way we fear it. It's actually not anything to be feared. It's, as I said, it's your body's way of saying, please love me, nurture the soul that I came here to be, nurture this being of light who I came here to be, and nurture the person I came here to express myself as. That's what your illness is telling you. Who am I? What have I come here to express? How can I shine my light more? One day, this will be so clear to us. I look forward to that day when our healthcare industry really sees it that way, when we can look back, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, when we can look back and say, oh my God, I can't believe that that was how we used to treat cancer. And we will look at it and we'll say, and I'm talking about the conventional therapies, the way we're being treated with medicine and radiation and all these things. And for those of you who've had that, don't worry. If you're going through and having chemotherapy, don't worry. Love yourself through it. But one day we will look back and we will say, wow, those were such archaic ways. No wonder the number of people getting cancer didn't go down. Because in actuality, cancer was just our body's way of saying, love me more. Not just my physical body, but my soul, my essence, my consciousness. Allow it to shine through. Allow it to express itself. That's what it's calling for. Many of you asked me to speak more about health foods and things like that. Here's my take on health foods. You know, get clean food. Just eat clean food. Eat what your body really craves and calls for, because your body is smart. When you start to eat clean foods, eat clean food, drink clean water, and other than that, have fun and enjoy yourself. I don't actually like the idea about stressing over food and diet. And there's already so many people who are experts at this, at food and at nutrition and the values of the food. There's so many people already doing it out there that I don't want to add to that. I don't have anything better to say than many of the experts out there who speak about juicing and about organic and so on. But I believe there's not enough people who talk about how our consciousness, how our emotions, how our spirituality, and how we feel about ourselves inside and who we came here to express. There's not enough people speaking about that and how that affects our health. And that's the area I like to talk about, because if that area is not taken care of, if you are living a life of fear, as I was, you can be eating the healthiest of foods, but still be having an unhealthy life, because your approach to life will be one of fear. Did you know that in actuality, two opposing emotions can't live in your mind at the same time? So what do I mean by this? What I mean is that love and fear can't exist within your emotions at the same time. I mean, in the same way, creation and reaction can't exist at the same time. So when you're feeling an emotion and you don't want to feel that emotion, ask yourself, what is the opposite of that emotion? So if you're living a life that is filled with too much fear, ask yourself, what's the opposite of fear? To me, the opposite of fear is love. When you have love, fear can't exist. So every time there is fear, it's a call to go towards love. It's a calling to bring more love into your life. So if you're fearing an illness, it's a call for more love. If you're feeling that your life is chaotic and you're just reacting, it's a call for you to start asking yourself, what can I create? To me, creation is the opposite of reaction. So whatever emotions you're feeling, if you don't like those emotions, ask yourself, what is the opposite? And move towards that opposite, because two opposing emotions cannot exist simultaneously within your mind. So just remember that. And I remember during my last Facebook Live, a beautiful lady who I've noticed on my Facebook page named Glenda Long, she asked me a question. And Milena, could you remind me what that question was?
Is it possible to give your power away to things and not just people?
Yes, so I always talk about don't give your power away to other people. So the question is it possible to give your power away to things? And the answer is yes, it is. It is very possible. And a lot of people do it all the time, unconsciously, where we feel we're not enough unless we have certain things. Like until you get the house or the car and so on and on, you feel you're not enough. And so we've given our power away to those things. But here's the thing, when you give your power away to those things, you will never feel you're enough even when you get those things, because there's something within you that's missing. When you know who you truly are, when you know how powerful you are, when you start to realize your purpose, your vision, your mission, you stop giving your power away. So whenever you feel yourself giving your power away to other people, when you feel yourself giving your power away to, let's say, doctors, healing systems, or when you feel yourself giving your power away to things, when you start to feel, if I don't have that house, if I don't live in that neighborhood, I will feel I will feel insignificant compared to my peer group. And when you feel those things, that means you've given your power away. That is a call to love yourself more and to find your purpose. And you find your purpose by getting to know who you are. Who am I? Who am I? Once you know who you are, you can start to, your purpose will start to unfold. When you know your purpose, you can start to create a vision. You can start to create a mission. And so great question, Glenda. Thanks for that question. And I know we have quite a few more questions, don't we? And just thank you so much for all your comments and everything. I just want to, add one thing on the topic of when I was speaking about facing an illness. I have seen people get really frustrated if the illness goes on for a prolonged period of time, and they're going through this feeling of, why am I still sick? Why can't I get over it? And what they end up doing is they give their power away to the illness by believing that there's something wrong with them unless they get rid of the illness. And that's a feeling that I want you to be aware of, is that I want you to know that maybe even the illness is just part of your journey right now. And it's not about getting rid of it. It's about listening to it. It's about loving it. It's about being gentle with it and being gentle with yourself. And treating yourself as though you were a little child that's come to you with an illness. If that little child, that 5-year-old you, came to you with an illness, would you be yelling at that little child and saying, why are you still sick? Haven't you understood all the messages I've been giving you? You would never do that to a little child. So stop doing it to yourself. Whatever you're supposed to learn from it, it will come to you, and it'll usually come to you after it's over. So stop trying to figure it out. And that is the key I want you to get. Stop trying to figure it out. Just stop. Stop. Just go inward. Just go quiet. Don't look for the answers. And just focus on loving yourself and embracing yourself. That's your only job. And once again, if you know anyone who's going through anything I've talked about, please share this with them, because I really want you to know this. And any questions?
You're receiving an outpouring of love and appreciation. There are so many comments, and so many of them are thanking you and expressing their love and appreciation.
Oh
and,
my gosh, thank you.
Yeah. And here's a question from Michelle. She says, I'm a compulsive worrier. How do I remedy this?
So that's a good one, a compulsive worrier. So again, I would ask you to look for what is the opposite of worrying. When you're worrying, it means, because our minds are always looking for something to latch onto. Whenever you're in that state of worry, I want you to be aware of it. The good thing is, at least you ask the question, which means you're aware of it. And I want you to catch yourself. And I want you to replace that worrying with just this one question. What can I be doing instead? What would I rather be doing instead of worrying? Just that simple question. And every time you ask yourself that question should take you closer and closer to your vision, to what the life you would like to lead. It will take you closer to who you are. Another question you could ask is, what would bring me joy? If I could do anything, what would bring me joy? Also, have a think about what kind of things you worry about. If you worry about things like finances, a lot of times when we worry about finances, it's not, they're not, it's like a fake fear. They're not justified worries. Many of us just worry because we want to get stuff that we don't necessarily need. If you have a roof over your head and you can afford to pay for the roof over your head, and you can afford to pay your bills, and you can afford to pay for food, and have all your basic needs met, technically you don't have anything to worry about. Anything beyond that is a bonus. And so worrying is a very unnecessary emotion, and it actually means that your mind is not focused on what actually matters to you. So ask yourself, who am I? how can I shine my light brighter? And so look for an opposite emotion. So thank you for your question.
All right. Anne Marie asks, do you have any thoughts or insights in regards to law of attraction in your own experience?
So with law of attraction, although I know that it's great being very positive, what I do feel is that we have to be careful about fearing our negative thoughts and our negative emotions. Because when I was going through cancer, I had already learned of the law of attraction and I had read books on it. And so I believed that I had attracted the cancer. And so I started to fear my thoughts. I really started to fear my thoughts. What I want to say to you is that don't fear your thoughts. The most important thing, and we attract not by our thoughts, but we attract even positive and negative things, and many of the things that we perceive as negative, actually later we realize that they were good for us. They helped us with our growth. They were gifts in their own way. So at that time when I was so fearful of my thoughts, thinking my thoughts had attracted the cancer, today I wouldn't trade having that cancer at all. It was the best gift I ever could have had because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So back to the law of attraction. My belief is that we have to embrace our positive and our negative thoughts because it's more important to be yourself than it is to be positive. And if you judge your thoughts as negative and you fear that these negative thoughts are going to attract a negative reality, every time you judge your thoughts as negative and you try to suppress them or you try to push them away, what you're doing is you're suppressing a part of who you are, and you're sending yourself the message that who I am is not good enough. I have to change who I am. And that is actually not true. Who you are at your core is perfect, and you have to embrace all of who you are, including the parts that can be perceived as negative. When you embrace all of who you are, you allow yourself to shine your light as bright as possible. So thank you for that question. I hope that answer was clear.
We have two questions similar. I'm going to give you both of them.
Okay.
Annalise says, my brother has cancer and they told him he will not be getting better. What can I do for him? And then Gayle is saying, my daughter needs a miracle for her to stay alive. How can I stay at peace when it's out of our hands?
Wow, so beautiful questions. For both of you, the answer is very, very similar. Number one is to absolutely love them unconditionally and be very, very supportive of them. When you are around them, so just to give you an example to make this a bit clearer, when I had cancer and when I was fearful about what was happening with me, I didn't want people giving me advice and suggestions that went against what I believed in. If I believed at that time that something I was doing was working, I didn't want people coming and telling me statistics about it and that it doesn't work for everyone, or this is what you should try instead. So whatever methods that they are choosing for their healing, support them 100%. And never say, oh, you should be doing something else, or you should be doing more of this and not that. That is not helpful at all. Because so much of our healing comes from our beliefs, from our mind, more so than from a lot of the external, the actual products that we're taking. So it's very important that we feel empowered. The other thing that I want to suggest, which is so important, is that those of you who are caring for those, whether it's your daughter, whether it's your brother, when you're caring for those who are ill, make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure that you are fully filled up to the brim with love and with energy and good feelings and strength when you go and visit them. Because then what you will give them is who you are and what you're feeling. If you are completely drained and you're completely fearful, that's the person you'll be bringing to them. You need to bring somebody who is there for them on their terms, someone who is truly fulfilled, so that they can then start to resonate on your vibes. Don't bring a person who is going to become drained because they're with someone who is ill. Go in there to uplift them. So go in there with an energy that is totally joyful so that you uplift them. The best thing you can do for them is to make them feel good. It's to make them feel loved. It's to remind them that they're beautiful. It's to remind them to love themselves and to remind them that you love them unconditionally. And so the best thing is to go in and uplift them and not allow yourself to become drained. Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful question. And I want to thank every single one of you for tuning in this week. Please feel free to share this, and especially share it with people who you know are dealing with illnesses and who you know will be helped by everything I've said. And I'm going to be back. I'm sure I'll be back really soon to share more messages like this with you. So keep tuning in. I have a lot more up my sleeve, and so I'll be back again. Thank you again. Thank you so much, every single one of you. Many hearts, hugs, smileys, everything at you. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear back from you. My website is anitamurjani.com. Stay tuned to my radio show every Wednesday, 12 noon Pacific. I think that's 8 or 9 p.m. in the UK, but please check my website or Hay House Radio. And I would love to get callers in my show. Call in and ask me questions. Love you all lots and have a wonderful week ahead of you. Bye.